Let's roll. Mount up. Let's get this thing going one way or another. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. We all have those reservations one way or another. Yeah. Mic check one. Mic check two. Yes. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Let's get this thing going one way or another. It's a beautiful Saturday. Yeah. Go grab your coffee as we tune in. Yeah. All right, guys. I really thank everybody for tuning in. Just want to be able to just bring everything home. We don't just like this team, right? Hopefully we don't. We love this team. We will fight for this team. And collectively, not everybody, not those that's in the chat box, but collectively, we don't defend this team. We don't defend the people that's on this team. We always like to say, Dak Prescott sucks. He can't do this and he can't do that and he don't do this and he don't do that. You know what I mean? When will we ever understand that he just may not be what we expect him to be or may not be what we want him to be? And when we just go back and say, okay, but he's our guy. You know, he may not have the best arm in the world. He may not have the best vision in the world. He may not just be the best football player that you want on a team. But guess what? There's nothing you can do. So crying over spilled milk is pointless. It's wasteless. It's just beyond me. When can we just say, okay, this is our handicap and we're going to roll with it and we're just going to just fight with it and just going to just say, hey, we would try to win and just find ways where we can win with this thing. It hurts me and it just always gets on my mind when we just say, okay, this is everything this guy has done and he just horrible. And then on top of that, you add in the fact that you got most of the fan base that say he sucks. He sucks. But what should you look at from this? There's nothing we can do at this point. There's absolutely nothing we can do. So why not just say, okay, to ourselves? And this is not being delusional. This is not being, despicable and all this stuff. This is just being real. You know, you have people in this world that was born with one eye. They just can't live through the prism of saying, I only have one eye. And I'm limited just for that. You know, you have guys that, just for example, Stephen Wonder never got a chance to see. Some conspiracy theories out there say that he really can't see, you know. But when will we just say, okay, this is our handicap. What can we do to better our best around this? And as a fans, we have to figure that out and crying and saying we hate this team and hate that team and hate this and that, hate general manager. We hate Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett is here. There's nothing we can do but cry about it. And that's all you'll become. I remember, and I always like to give you guys an analogy, but my first car was a Honda Civic 1995 two-door black coupe. And my uncle used to always say, that ain't nothing but a glorified go-kart. You putting this on there, I put a cold air intake on it, changed the manifold out, put some pipes on that thing. And guess what? Regardless of whatever I did to that car, he was saying, hey, son, it's just a glorified go-kart. It would never be an 8-cylinder car. And I never understood what he was talking about, but that was my car. You know what I mean? And nothing that I could do to it improve it to the fact that it will be an 8-cylinder car. Those who know out there got an 8-cylinder car or a 6-cylinder understand what I'm talking about. And the problem is that there's nothing that I could do about it, but at the same time, I appreciate it. You see, it got me from point A to point B. And at the same time, it got me just as far or just as close as an 8-cylinder car would. And then on top of that, I understood these are the things that I can do to improve my particular car. Now, it was never an 8-cylinder car. It would never go to the speeds of an 8-cylinder or a 6-cylinder, but it saved me gas, right? It was low maintenance on a lot of things. It took me through. It made me have this car and appreciate that car all the way through high school and some parts of college. Shout out to the college life, you know what I mean? And a lot of people was like, hey, bro, give me a ride. You know what I mean? We loaded that thing up. Car was so packed that the back end was like all slumped over. And then we all know what happened with Fast and the Furious. Bruh said, hey, got some money, got some 17-inch wheels on them things. You know what I'm saying? But it would never go the speed of an 8-cylinder car. It would never go the speed of a 6-cylinder car, but it was my car. It was paid for, and I didn't have to worry about no car note. And it got me from point A to point B. And what I'm saying is, Cowboys Nation, Dak Prescott may not never be a Tony Romo. He may not never become a Drew Brees of the world, right? And I think the Chargers, they ran him off. You see what I'm saying? I guarantee you Chargers would have said, hey, you know what? If Drew Brees was to become the Drew Brees that we know and see to this day, we would have held on to him. He better than Phillip Rivers at this point, who always – Phillip Rivers is a nice 8-cylinder car. Got the arm, got the size, the measurables, got all of the records, but don't have one hardware that we really want. For the Chargers, what they really want, and that's a ring. But we will fall into the minds and fall into the traps of saying, I don't appreciate my 4-cylinder car. I don't appreciate the things that I have. Nietzsche said, do not spoil the thing that you have, because at one point of time, that thing that you have was something that you desired for, meaning that that's something that you wish you had. So do not spoil the thing that you have, because we can go back to 2015, if you know what I mean. And that even rhymes, and I'm not even trying. You see what I'm saying? We can go back to the Matt Castles of the world. We can go back to the Brandon Weedens. We can go back to the Kellen Moores. We can go back to those type of quarterbacks. But it crazes me that we have a quarterback that find ways to win games. And understandable, yes, it's not the speed of an 8-cylinder car. It's not the speed of a 6-cylinder car. We talking NASCAR today, right? It's not those speeds. He may pass 150 yards. He may not have three interceptions. And plus, he may not ever have a 4-touchdown game. But at this point, if we are run first team, and if we can surround and everybody can rally, because I believe there's something about positive energy. I don't know about you all, but I know about me. I always try to be positive early in the morning. That's when your brain and chemistry everything is working together. Try to be positive with this thing, right? If you know what I mean. There's something about positive thinking and positive mind thoughts and things like that. And collectively, the biggest this fan base is, if we can just somehow reel in everything and just speak positive things and speak things into our existence, speak life upon things, right? There's something that can just shake up and just all of a sudden positive energy come down there to Texas Stadium this weekend, Sunday night. And then we may look at things and we look back and say, hey, things are not just that bad. You know, I did a post analogy or a post analyst of Eli Manning versus Dak Prescott. And people was using Eli Manning's total body of work. And they were saying that, wait, hold on, Lo. Eli Manning is far beyond Dak Prescott. But the last 3 years doesn't show that, guys. But we would look at Dak Prescott and we would throw this man under the bus like he was the worst quarterback ever stepped foot into the National Football League. It drives me crazy seeing that from true Cowboys fans. I know you guys are true, but we have the right to be emotional. But we lost the last game, so we shouldn't be holding on to that last game all the way into this point. And people like to bring up facts from the last year and say, well, the last 9 games, Law. You got to look at the last 9 games. It was horrible. But I'm trying to come home. I'm trying to tell everybody that if you look at it from this aspect, is that the Cowboys always start off week 1 horrible. I would rather us to start off cold now and then to pick up everything down the line. And I understand that we will fall into these things for having the mindset that we're horrible for the first 1 or 2 weeks. But it is what it is. We took away preseason snaps. We took away these preseason games from these starters, and they're not just going to come in, especially hitting on all cylinders when you never pass the ball to these group of guys. Now, we can overanalyze sometimes. We can say, okay, the guy didn't hit this guy. The guy didn't hit this target. But what if he did, you know? What if we won the first game 40-3? Will we all be saying to ourselves, we finna win the Super Bowl? And I go back to the Ravens game. You see? We don't have the luxury of opening up to a horrible team. We fail to realize the Carolinas are like less than 3 years removed from going to the Super Bowl. The main core of that defense is still stout. That defensive front four is still nasty, you see. But we will go back and we'll look at the game. We'll overanalyze and say, okay, this guy was open. Tupac was open. Biggie was open. All these guys was open, and Dak Prescott couldn't hit none of them. But we fail to realize that it was only 15 carries that Ezekiel Elliott had, you know. And you put in the pressure, and we started in the deep bottom of the red zone to a quarterback who barely played a full half of preseason game, and we already know the struggles that he had reading and vision and seeing the ball down the field. We already knew that was there, and he's supposed to be week one. He's supposed to be dropping back like Peyton Manning and Joe Montana mixed in one. Steve Young. I had some people to tell me that they would rather have Eli Manning at this point. Oh, my God. Have we resorted to that type of thinking, Cowboys Nation? Come on now. We have to reel this thing home. I just want us to stop complaining. Just stop complaining. If you love the team, not trying to say that you should just look at things and be like, okay, Cowboys going to the Super Bowl because law said stop complaining. No, we can criticize the team. Yes, that's natural. You can do that. But if you to continue to criticize and go on and on and on and on, now you're whining. And as a man, there's two type of things that you don't want to be as a man. I'm just saying, you know, the ladies, they can cry, complain all you want. Shout out to the ladies. But as a man, women don't want these two things. I can tell you and I guarantee you a woman going to say, I agree. A woman refused to have a begging man, a man that begs all the time, and a woman refused to have a crying man, a whining man, a baby man, a pacifier man. You got to figure out a way. If you have $5, you have to still bring food home. There's something about manhood that this nation have to develop. And I'm talking about we all have to develop. I understand it's been over 20 plus years since we had the glory of a Super Bowl. But don't you think the Lions Nation right now is crying about that? The Browns Nations. Don't you think before the latter part of, I guess, the early last decade that we was in, the Steelers, they went over 30 years too without winning the Super Bowl. But you just still see them prancing around talking about black and gold, black and gold. You see, you don't see them whining. We don't see them crying. Hey, put it like this. The Steelers themselves, they got a guy named AB, world of a wide receiver. Nasty of a wide receiver out there. Big Ben threw 3 interceptions and also had a fumble. Their running back, the backup running back, their star running back is talking about, I'm not playing because I don't like my contract. But their star running back out there, the backup running back ran for over 130-something yards. And they still lost. Big Ben threw 3 interceptions and one forced fumble. You can have that particular Steeler Nation to say right now, oh, Big Ben, he don't know how to pass the ball right. He's always throwing the ball away. Can you imagine them crying and complaining? No. They say, okay, we still back up our quarterback. And I understand that we don't have a quarterback to needle the ball down the field. I understand that type of rugby football is not conducive to our mindset and our thought track. But well, guess what? When you start off from the bottom, and there's something about when this guy says, Dre started from the bottom, now we're here. Can you imagine those who stick with this team, those who understood the philosophy of just being into the mix of this team? It's better because now I'll be able to appreciate the small things when I come and elevate things to the higher level. Now I can look back. Now that I got a 6-cylinder car, 8-cylinder car, there's a 10-second car that I can press down on that gas and it can go real fast. I still, in my crevices of my minds and thoughts, I'm humble in a sense. Because there's something about taking humility with dignity. And I can say to myself, okay, I know where I've been. I know where I'm going now. And this nation, Cowboys, we should have that same thought track. We should say to ourselves, okay, we know what 2015 felt like. And we know for sure, as much as we love Tony Romo, we know what it feels like. Although we was high hope on Tony Romo, we were saying, hey, okay, this guy right here. But when he passed those interceptions, or when he laid out on the ground and can't get back up, we will all have those. We'll come back to work that Monday morning. We'll come back to work that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And everybody's people dressing up their kids as Romo and the spleen and all this stuff. Talking about Tony Ono and Tony can't stay healthy. His back broken and bruised and all this stuff. He's folded up like a pretzel. And those fans that are still out there saying that, oh, if Tony Romo would have played 2016, 17, 18, what have you, we would have had those Super Bowls. No, he couldn't stay healthy. But now we got a quarterback that's able to stay healthy. And all we have to do is refocus our mind and just stay positive and stop complaining and give the ball to Ezekiel Elliott, because we got the piece right there. Run the rock and have Dak Prescott to manage this game, because at the same time, I can mention these quarterbacks, and I know for sure, I know a few going to still say, nah, these quarterbacks is still better than Dak. I'm going to mention Trent Green. Trent Difford. But Trent Green is decent. Trent Difford, Brad Johnson. I know people still high on Joe Flacco. I'm not going to mention Joe Flacco, but I can still mention Eli Manning. Those quarterbacks won Super Bowls before. And I'm not saying that Dak Prescott is far and light years ahead of those guys, or if he's far behind these guys. He's somewhere in the middle or in between of these guys at least. You can at least have that argument. And we have a defense that if we can get this defense, get turnovers and takeaways, and if we can somehow flip the field, because that was the difference between this last game, flipping the field with the special team. If we can get these things together, we'll see a different type of team. Guys, this is Saturday morning. I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thank you all. Let me see you over here before I run, who was the first person on the YouTube channel to jump in. I really appreciate you all. Shout out to Esteban Gaza. Thank you for tuning in. You're the first person to be in the chat box. Joseph, second place. Abnormally, third place. Get a little bit closer. I really thank you, man, for tuning in. And on the Facebook panel, I really appreciate you all. I really love you all. You know that, right? Facebook, man. Woody, thank you for tuning in. Brooks, as well as Dino, Kerry Teagle, Wilson, Terry, Michael, all of you all, man. Rob, thank you guys for being part of the Facebook panel. All I want you all, I'm not the best person in the world to give these type of talk things. I just try to be the best. I may be wrong on a lot of things, and you guys are right on most of the things, but at least I try, right? But hey, let's be positive. Let's get things together one way or another. If you like this podcast, if you like this channel, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Join the notification squad /gang. We're going to get this thing one way or another. Don't forget to share this information. Share this content throughout the whole entire world. Plug it on somebody's Twitter page. Plug it on somebody's Facebook page. Do whatever you have to do to help this brother out. I have a podcast, LAW Nation. Just put that in the information box, and I'm everywhere. I'm also on Daily Motions. I'm just everywhere. Reddit. Just find me one way or another. Let's get this thing going. Hey, Giants week, rivalry game. It's going to be a nice, wonderful game. So it's a late game, around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I really want everybody, if you have a chance to be out there at the stadium, I don't want us crossing our legs when we get a big play. I want you to stand up, get pumped, get crunk, wear your Cowboys blue and silver and white. I don't want you coming in there with no other colors on. Come up in there, be ready, be on time, and get out there and make some noise. Let's change the atmosphere. Let's change the culture. Let's do this thing, Cowboys Nation. I'm so tired of saying that our home field advantage is our disadvantage. Let's break this thing down, and let's be some mighty, nasty Cowboys out there. Hey, I understand collectively that most of the fans and most of everybody don't like Jason Garrett. But Jason Garrett is at least here for this year. And I understand that most of the people don't like Dak Prescott. Most, because that's all I hear. Got a lot of hate mail about this. All I want you guys to do, if you repping the silver and blue, go out there, support the team. Reach out to you. Reach out down there and pull out a flag, a white flag, wave it around, get crazy. Let people know that this nation right here, we live, lit, and ready. Let's go, baby. Let's get this thing going. Yeah. guys know what I'm talking about. Cowboys Nation, one way or another. You can't yell out DC for life if you ain't down for this thing, for the cause, baby. Let's go. Peace. Yeah. Let's get this thing going one way or another. And remember, you all are listening to nothing but the bass. Salute. I'm out. Peace. Yeah. All right. I see you now. I see you over there. Don't forget to put that jersey on. Let's rep this thing. Let's go, Cowboys Nation. Come on, Jerry Jones. Let's get this thing right. Huh.